morning all. We are up in the beautiful mountains. It's going to be a really nice day. It's supposed to get into the 60s today. Sun shining. Can't ask for a nicer day. Today I feel a bit naked. I do not have a metal detector with me. Mission today is for the people who don't own a metal detector. I thought I'm going to go up, I'm going to find a crevice, and we're going to work a crevice, see if we can find some gold the old school way. Okay, well, we got a bit of a hike ahead of us because I've been hiking for a while and I'm only like a quarter of the way there. So let's get back to hiking. I'll see you when we get down to the river. Here for a minute. I wanted to show you where we started. The bedrock looked terrible. This bedrock is starting to look better. It's still not what I'm looking for, but let me show you what I mean by better. What I mean about the bedrock, even though we're 30 feet above the river, the bedrock is starting, rather than breaking off, you can look around in here, and this is all kind of rounded off instead of breaking. We still have some spots here where it's breaking off, but the sharp edges are a lot less. There's a lot more rounded stone. See, what we're looking for is good hard bedrock. And the bedrock that breaks off, leaves the sharp edges, that bedrock erodes away too quickly. When you're working a crevice, you want bedrock that erodes slowly, so the crack you're working's got years to accumulate gold. If the bedrock just goes off in chunks, you only get 20, 30 years before that chunk's knocked off, and there goes your accumulation. So we're starting, the bedrock's starting to get harder, so we'll just keep on heading upriver till we find some nice bedrock. Okay, well, we finally found us some good bedrock. I don't know how well it's showing us, but this is good, hard bed. It's actually got a shine to it. It's all nice and worn. But we also found the other thing we're looking for, and that's good bedrock where it comes into contact with boulders. When you're working a crevice, this is what you're looking for. You want to make sure that the gravel is actually traveling over the bedrock. And the larger the gravel, the better, but you've got to make sure that there's sand and small gravel mixed in. Now, you don't want just sand. You got to have small gravel. And, well, let me show you. Now, in here, this is bedrock right here. We got boulders. We got big boulders. We have sand, and we have gravel all intermixed. You need all these components to find your flood gold. Now, you don't want just sand. If you have too much sand, your gold has dropped out way before that, where the sand's accumulating. As long as you have the boulders and the sand along with all the miscellaneous gravel, then you know you're in the right area. So we got the boulders, we got the gravel, we got the bedrock. Now comes the hard part. We got to find a crevice. Now, when you're looking for a crevice, there's several ways to do it. Like if you're dredging, you look at the banks, you look for the big crevices coming down the hill, and those are the ones you go after out in the river. You can do the same thing here. But the problem you're going to have when you're just crevicing is if the crevice is too big, it's going to take you forever to get to the bottom of it. If it's a smaller, good-looking crevice, the odds are it's been worked. If it stands out and it looks really good, and you're in an area like where I'm at now that gets hit quite a bit, I don't bother with them because it's been hit. What I'm looking for is the small crevices, wide enough to get a picker in there, but also you want it big enough to get gravel packed in there because the gravel is your indicator. Okay, let me see if I can find a crevice so I can show you what I'm talking about. A couple of crevices here. It's an example of what you don't want to mess with. Now, if you got a lot of time, you can check them. There might be something that's come in there, but I can guarantee you these crevices are worked. And then I'll show you, I found 3 crevices that were going to work. Let me show you what I don't bother with first. Now you can see right here, this is a nice looking crevice, and it's obvious it's already been cleaned, but there's been a few rocks come in since. I wouldn't waste my time on this. And then right next to it, you have another crevice. It's got rocks in here, but look, they're loose. That crevice has been worked. Both these crevices are just too obvious. Now the 3 crevices that we're going to work, there's 3 different types. They're what I call a hidden crevice, a crevice that's too small to mess with, and a crevice in an area that people don't normally look. Okay, let's check out the hidden one first. Now if you're looking at this area, it just looks like everything else with rocks sitting here and there. But if you look at the bedrock, you have bedrock here, and then you have these rocks stacked right here. There's a reason for these rocks to line up. Now, it's not always a guaranteed thing, but I'm guessing these rocks are here because there's a low spot. Now, when you're looking at a crevice like this, there's several possibilities. It just may be a low spot. There's no actual crevice. There may be a crevice, but it may be wide enough that the bottom's smooth. Now, you do not want a smooth bottom crevice, because if the bedrock's smooth, that means it's working. If it works, that means every time there's a flood, the gold that's accumulated in there gets washed out while that thing's working. So you have to get a crevice that's got a rough bottom that hasn't been worked. Okay, let's roll a couple of boulders. Let's see if we do in fact have a crevice here. Okay, let's do a little crevice 101. You always work uphill on a crevice. You don't want to work downhill because then you got to deal with your tailings. So when you throw stuff behind you, if you're going uphill, you're done with it. Okay, let's see if we can move this thing. That's not good, it moved too easy. Now, we want to get down here and see if there's anything packed. We got a good mixture of sand and gravel, but it's not packed. But we do have, the sides are smooth, but there is a crevice at the bottom. Okay, let's grab the pan. We'll do a quick test pan. Now, since we're crevicing, we want a green pan so we can see our black sand. Okay, let's just pull some of this out of here. Okay, now we want to make sure we get the gravel that's at the very bottom, and that'll tell us. Now see, I'm not finding anything packed. So my guess would be we are going to find a little bit of gold, but we're not going to find any big accumulation. Okay, take this down, pan it. I'll be right back. We're in a good spot. We had a lot of black sand, and for 2 cups of material, not bad gold. Really small, but then again, we know we're going for flood gold. Let me show you. Now, hopefully you can see in here there is all kinds of really fine gold all throughout that. Okay, well, I'm going to snuffer this up, and then we'll go for the crevice that's hard to spot. We can always come back to this one, but I kind of want to get to the third one. Okay, let's go check out the next one. Now right here we have a crevice that's so small most people won't bother with it. They won't even give it a second look. But there's a trick to this. Let me show you here. Now you can see here we have a hole here and we have a hole here. The difference between these two, you see this line right here? There's one right here. These are natural faults, and this one is going into this hole. There's no fault going into this hole, so if we go down here, we can see that the bottom of this is just smooth as glass. There's going to be no gold here. But this one could open up to a crevice, like there's a rock right there jammed in it. So what we want to do is we want to clean this out as far as it goes. Now you can see we got all our requirements here. We got our crack, we got our sand, my knee's on a huge boulder, so we got everything that we're required to find the gold. Okay, let's see if we got a crevice. Now what I like to do is take and pull this surface off because there's nothing in it, and this gives me a spot to pull my gravel back to. Now see, it's getting deep and we're starting to get some packed gravel. Yeah, we got a little bit of, not a lot of packed gravel, but we got some in there. Make sure you clean your rocks off before you huck them. Oh, that one's in there. There we go. But that, if you hit any kind of a clay-like substance, you make sure you get that in your pan. Okay, we're getting down to the bottom now. The Huntley spoon allows you to get that last little bit down on the bottom that you can't get to, because that's where the good stuff is. Okay, once again, not a lot of gravel, but should be good. I'll be back. Okay, you can see here we got a piece of lead, and then there's gold all throughout here, but you can see that this gold is larger than the last stuff. Let's go to the third crevice, the one I like the most. I like these crevices because not a lot of people will work them, and I always do really good at them. You know, in a situation like this, most people are going to be looking down in here or in here, but what I look for is right here. Now we have a step here. We have moss growing here. Now the flow of the water is coming this way. This is just like a ripple. It'll come over here and it'll circle behind and it'll dump the gold in this crevice. And I can see gravel in here. So I really like these crevices because most people are looking down here. So let's grab the tools, open this up, see if we got any gold. Okay, now the first thing we want to do, we're just going to clean all this moss off. But we'll throw it in the pan because, as we all know, moss will keep really fine gold. Okay, we got gravel packed in here. Boy, it's packed in there good too. Okay, now this crevice comes and goes. Like right here, nothing, and down here, it gets deep with a lot of gravel packed in it. Okay, let's check it down here, see what it looks like. Okay, it's going way back. But now this, no, wait a minute, it does have gravel in it. I was going to say it didn't have gravel in it. Now you want to make sure you get to the bottom, because if there's any nice pieces, that's where they're going to be. Once again, the Huntley spoon is the perfect tool for getting that stuff off the bottom. Okay, then we have the last of it up here on the top. Okay, we got that cleaned out. And at that little crevice, we got our biggest pan so far. Okay, I'll be right back. Well, I got that panned out, and I'm here to tell you, that was no easy task. I mean, this thing, there was a ton of black sand. And the funny thing is, we had really fine black sand all the way to really coarse black sand. But it was a bugger to pan it out, but best pan of the day. Let me show you. You can see we got a line of really nice pieces, and then there's this real fine gold all through this. But that top one, I'm calling that one a picker. And I forgot to show it, but there was 2 pieces of lead, and I picked out 2 pieces of iron when I was panning. Small little, pretty solid pieces. Look like chunks of nail, I would guess. But bad thing is, we cleaned that crevice completely out. Now, I think I'm going to take a quick lap, see if I can find another good looking crevice. I kind of already went over this area to find these 3. But if I can't find another one, we're going to go back to that first one and finish it, because we were still getting gold out of there. So clean these up, do a little hunting, and I'll be right back. I looked all over. There's a couple of crevices, but nothing that looks good. And it's getting late, so I think we're going to go back and finish that first one, because I'm pretty sure there's more gold in it. Okay, back to the first crevice. At some point, I'll expect this crevice to smooth out. But as long as it's got a sharp bottom, the odds are we'll still be finding gold. And it just flattened out. Well, we're going to get another 6 inches of crevice anyway. And it just opened up. But we got a nice little catch right down here at the bottom that got gravel in it, so there's still hope. Okay, our last pan. Nothing to write home about, but definitely more gold than we had when we started. Now you can see there's fine gold. And then down here, I don't know if you can see it or not. Let me move this around. But we got a lot of small pieces of lead. Okay, well I'm going to clean this up with the snuffer. Wander around here, find my tools, get them gathered up. Because it's getting cold. It's getting late. It was actually almost nice there for a little bit. But got to get everything packed up. We got quite a long hike to get back out here. Not a hard hike, but a long hike. Okay, I'll see you back at the house. You guessed it, it's the next day. We made it out alive. Well, I got that gold cleaned up. All that black sand, it was kind of tough, but standard procedure. Everything that went through the 50 mesh just goes in the end of your cleanup. Okay, we say we jump over the scale and see how we did. Let's weigh our big picker first. 0.3, not bad. Alright. And we ended up with 0.97 grams. Well, if I'd have known we were that close to a gram, I would have done another crevice to get us over the top. You never know. Okay, well, I'm thinking if the weather lets me, next trip out, I'm going to do basically the same video, but this time, how to find gold if you don't have good bedrock. If you got, really crappy bedrock, there's still a way to find gold on it. So I'm thinking I got just a spot that this place has terrible bedrock. But I thought, we'll go shoot a video there and see if we can find some gold with really lousy bedrock. Well, that's pretty much all I got on this one. So I'm out of here. You guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video.